The House on the Hill. It was a dark and stormy night. A group of 5 friends decided to spend the weekend at an old mansion on a hill overlooking the town. They had heard rumors that the house was haunted, but they didn't believe them. They thought it would be fun to explore the place and maybe find some hidden treasures. They arrived at the house around 9 p.m., carrying their bags and flashlights. The house looked even more ominous in the rain, with its broken windows and peeling paint. They pushed open the creaky door and entered the foyer. The air was cold and damp, and the only sound was the dripping of water from the ceiling. "Wow, this place is creepy," said Jake, the leader of the group. He was tall and athletic, with blonde hair and blue eyes. He liked to act brave and adventurous, but he was secretly afraid of the dark. "Come on, don't be a chicken," said Mia, his girlfriend. She was a petite brunette with a bubbly personality. She loved horror movies and ghost stories, and she was always looking for a thrill. "Let's split up and look around," she suggested. "Maybe we'll find something interesting." "Good idea," said Ryan, another friend. He was a nerdy guy with glasses and curly hair. He was interested in history and science, and he wanted to learn more about the house. "I'll go with you," said Lily, his crush. She was a shy girl with long blonde hair and green eyes. She was kind and gentle, and she hated violence and gore. "Okay, then I'll go with Jake," said Sam, the last friend. He was a sarcastic guy with black hair and green eyes. He was a prankster and a joker, and he liked to make fun of everything. "Fine by me," said Jake. "Let's go upstairs. Maybe we'll find the master bedroom." The group agreed to meet back in the foyer in an hour. They turned on their flashlights and went their separate ways. Jake and Sam climbed the stairs to the second floor. They walked along the hallway, looking at the doors on both sides. They were all locked, except for one at the end. "Let's check this one out," said Jake, opening the door. He and Sam entered the room and shone their flashlights around. It was a large bedroom with a 4-poster bed, a fireplace, a dresser, and a closet. There were paintings on the walls and a rug on the floor. "Wow, this must be the master bedroom," said Sam. "It's pretty fancy." "Yeah, too bad it's so dusty and moldy," said Jake. "Hey, look at this." He walked over to the fireplace and picked up a metal box. It was locked, but he managed to pry it open with his pocket knife. Inside, there was a pile of old papers and a necklace. "What is it?" asked Sam, joining him. "I don't know, let's see." Jake unfolded one of the papers and read it aloud. "Dear Elizabeth, I hope this letter finds you well. I miss you terribly, and I long to see you again. I know you are angry with me for leaving you, but I had no choice. My father arranged a marriage for me with a wealthy heiress, and I could not refuse. He threatened to disown me and cut off my inheritance if I did not obey. He also said he would harm you and your family if I ever tried to contact you again. I love you more than anything, but I cannot risk your safety. Please forgive me, and know that you are always in my heart. Your loving Edward." Jake looked at Sam with a puzzled expression. "Who are these people?" he asked. "I don't know. Maybe the previous owners of the house," said Sam. "Maybe they had a forbidden romance or something." "Maybe," said Jake. He picked up the necklace and examined it. It was a silver locket with a picture of a young woman inside. She had long brown hair and blue eyes, and she was wearing a white dress. She looked like Mia. "Hey, this looks like Mia," said Jake, showing it to Sam. "Wow, you're right," said Sam. "She's a dead ringer for her." "That's weird," said Jake. He felt a sudden chill in the air, and he shivered. "Maybe we should get out of here," he said. "Good idea," said Sam. He turned around and headed for the door, but as he reached for the knob, he felt a cold hand grab his wrist. He screamed and dropped his flashlight. "Sam, what's wrong?" asked Jake, turning around. He saw Sam struggling with a pale figure that had emerged from the closet. It was a man, dressed in a black suit and a white shirt. He had short blonde hair and blue eyes, and he looked like Jake. "Jake, help me!" cried Sam. "It's him! It's Edward!" Jake was stunned. He recognized the man from one of the paintings on the wall. It was Edward, the lover of Elizabeth. "What do you want?" he asked. "I want you to leave," said Edward in a raspy voice. "This is my house and you are not welcome here." He tightened his grip on Sam's wrist and twisted it. Sam screamed in pain. "Let him go," said Jake. He grabbed the metal box and threw it at Edward's head. It hit him with a loud clang, and he let go of Sam. Sam fell to the floor, clutching his wrist. "Run!" said Jake. He grabbed Sam's arm and dragged him to the door. They ran out of the room and slammed the door behind them. They heard Edward's angry voice from inside. "You can't escape me. I'll find you and kill you." They ran down the stairs, hoping to find their friends and get out of the house. Meanwhile, Mia and Ryan were in the basement. They had found a door that led to a dark and damp cellar. They decided to explore it, hoping to find something interesting. They walked down the stone steps, shining their flashlights around. They saw shelves full of jars and bottles, containing various liquids and substances. They also saw boxes and crates filled with books and papers. There was a musty smell in the air and a faint sound of dripping water. "Wow, this place is like a laboratory," said Mia. "I wonder what they were doing here." "Maybe they were experimenting with something," said Ryan. "Maybe they were trying to create a new medicine or a new weapon. Or maybe they were trying to bring someone back from the dead," said Mia with a grin. "Maybe," said Ryan with a chuckle. He walked over to one of the shelves and picked up a jar. It contained a green liquid and a human eye. "Hey, look at this," he said, showing it to Mia. "You, gross," said Mia. "Put that down." Ryan put the jar back and picked up another one. It contained a red liquid and a human heart. "How about this?" he asked. "Stop it. You're disgusting," said Mia. She walked over to one of the boxes and opened it. It contained a stack of old newspapers. She picked one up and read the headline. "Massacre at the Mansion, 5 people found dead in horrific scene." She gasped and showed it to Ryan. "Look at this," she said. Ryan took the newspaper and read it. It was dated October 31st, 1923. It reported that 5 people were found dead in the mansion on the hill in what appeared to be a ritualistic killing. The victims were Edward and Elizabeth, the owners of the house, and 3 of their servants. They had been stabbed, slashed, and burned, and their bodies were arranged in a pentagram on the floor. The police had no suspects or motives, and the case remained unsolved. "Wow, this is creepy," said Ryan. "Do you think this has something to do with the haunting?" "Maybe," said Mia. "Maybe their ghosts are still here, looking for revenge." "Or maybe they're looking for love," said Ryan with a wink. He leaned in and kissed Mia. She kissed him back, and they wrapped their arms around each other. They forgot about the newspaper and the jars, and they only focused on each other. They didn't notice the shadowy figure that emerged from behind one of the crates. It was a woman, dressed in a white dress and a veil. She had long brown hair and blue eyes, and she looked like Elizabeth. She saw Mia and Ryan kissing, and she felt a surge of jealousy and rage. She grabbed a knife from one of the shelves and walked towards them. She raised the knife and stabbed Mia in the back. Mia screamed and fell to the floor, blood gushing from her wound. "Mia!" cried Ryan. He let go of her and looked at the woman. He recognized her from one of the paintings on the wall. It was Elizabeth, the lover of Edward. "Who are you?" he asked. "I am Elizabeth," she said in a cold voice, "and you have taken what is mine." She stabbed Ryan in the chest, and he collapsed next to Mia. They both lay still, their eyes wide open. Elizabeth dropped the knife and walked away. She went up the stairs looking for the others. Meanwhile, Lily was in the library. She had found a door that led to a large room full of books. She decided to explore it, hoping to find something interesting. Lily walked around the bookcase in the center of the room, looking for a book to read. She loved reading, and she hoped to find something interesting. She saw books of all kinds, from classics to mysteries, from romance to horror. She picked one up and read the title, The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. She felt a shiver run down her spine. She had heard of this book, and she knew it was a famous horror story. She wondered if it was similar to the house she was in. She opened the book and read the first line. No live organism can continue for long to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality. Even larks and katydids are supposed, by some, to dream. She felt a sudden chill in the air, and she looked up. She saw a ghostly figure standing in front of her. It was a woman, dressed in a black dress and a hat. She had long gray hair and pale skin, and she looked very old. She had a stern expression on her face, and she held a cane in her hand. She recognized her from one of the paintings on the wall. It was Mrs. Hill, the original owner of the house. "Who are you?" she asked in a harsh voice. "I'm Lily," said Lily nervously. "I'm a friend of Jake's. We came here to spend the weekend." "You shouldn't have come here," said Mrs. Hill. "This is my house, and you are not welcome here." She raised her cane and swung it at Lily. Lily dodged it and ran to the door. She tried to open it, but it was locked. "Help!" she screamed. "Someone help me!" She heard Mrs. Hill's footsteps behind her, and she felt her breath on her neck. "You can't escape me," she said. "I'll teach you a lesson you'll never forget." Lily screamed and kicked Mrs. Hill in the shin. Mrs. Hill groaned and dropped her cane. Lily grabbed the cane and hit Mrs. Hill on the head. Mrs. Hill fell to the floor unconscious. Lily looked around and saw a window. She ran to it and broke it with the cane. She climbed out and jumped to the ground. She landed on the grass and she felt a sharp pain in her ankle. She had sprained it, but she didn't care. She got up and limped to the front door. She opened it and saw Jake and Sam running towards her. They looked terrified and injured. Jake had a cut on his forehead, and Sam had a bandage on his wrist. "Lily, are you okay?" asked Jake. "I'm fine, let's get out of here," said Lily. "What about Mia and Ryan?" asked Sam. "They're in the basement, we have to find them," said Lily. They ran to the basement door and opened it. They saw Mia and Ryan lying on the floor covered in blood. They were not moving. "Mia! Ryan!" they cried. They ran to them and checked their pulses. They were both dead. They heard a laugh from behind them. They turned around and saw Edward and Elizabeth standing at the top of the stairs. They were holding knives and smiling wickedly. "Hello, friends," said Edward. "We're so glad you could join us." "We've been waiting for you," said Elizabeth. "We need 2 more sacrifices to complete our ritual." They walked down the stairs, slowly and menacingly. Jake, Sam, and Lily backed away until they hit the wall. They had nowhere to run. They screamed as Edward and Elizabeth stabbed them repeatedly. The house was filled with blood and death. The storm raged on, and the lightning flashed.